Let's face it, people. We are obsessed with superhero culture. And we have been so for years. Case in point, the CW era of superhero television. Now, those words may bring up a lot of nostalgia for quite a few folks, with the likes of Smallville in their minds. Tom Welling's Superman is still a lot of people's Superman after all. But that is not what I am here to talk about today. Today, I am here to talk about a show that launched an entire new era for superhero television, especially on the CW. I am, of course, talking about Arrow. What is there to be said about Arrow during its immense 8-season run? It was definitely a show that had its ups, had its downs. And in this video, I hope to capture all of that as I go through and I rewatch all 8 seasons of Arrow. So the way we'll be going about this rewatch is quite simple. First, I will give you a general overview of the season. Some of the highs, some of the lows, best episodes, worst episodes, some personal thoughts of mine, and each season will have a little nickname to categorize them through the flashbacks you'll be seeing in the season. Now, this video will likely be broken up into 2 different parts, with the first 4 seasons in the video you are watching right now, and the latter 4 in a video soon to come. Now, if you're familiar with the Arrowverse, you probably have heard the Green Arrow origin story to nauseam. Mainly because it's in the title card of every episode. So, instead of explaining it to you, I'm just gonna play a title card.
The day I went missing was the day I died. 5 years in hell forged me into a weapon, which I used to honor a vow I made to my father, who sacrificed his life for mine. In his final moments, he told me the truth, that our family's wealth had been built on the suffering of others, that he failed our city, and that it was up to me to save it and right his wrongs. But to do that without endangering the people closest to me, I have to be someone else. I have to be something else.
Alright, so now we're inside. I have all my notes. I'm sitting on my bedroom floor, so I guess my dog's just gonna interrupt me like that. Let's get into it, shall we? Now that you have a synopsis about the character, let me give you a quick rundown of the season 1 plot. So, basically, Oliver comes back from Lian and he sets out upon his mission to cross out all the names in the book his father gave him to save his city, so to speak, right? Along this journey, he meets John Diggle, who starts as his bodyguard. He also meets Felicity Smoke, who is currently working at the IT department at Queens Consolidated. Now, there are many other supporting characters, but those are the main 2 that you are going to need to know. So just get used to hearing those names. However, along this journey to cross off all of these names, Oliver comes across a very dark plot to destroy a portion of the city called the Undertaking. Now, in my opinion, this is where things get quite interesting, because the Undertaking is a plan to destroy the Glades, which, for lack of better wording, is the hood of Starling City. And this plan is made by all of the wealthy people in power of Starling City, such as Oliver's parents and the seasoned main villain, Malcolm Merland, who is also Oliver's best friend's father. Yeah, the CW is dramatic. Now I know I may have more or less just described Malcolm to be similar to a suit with money, but Malcolm is much, much more. Because you see, Malcolm is the Dark Archer, as he's known in this season. A very well-trained assassin. And we'll talk more about exactly how well-trained Malcolm is later in the show. But for right now, all you need to know is that he is a very, very well-trained assassin. Hi, Scooby. Say hi to my dog. So not only does Malcolm have the money to fund such a dark plan, but he also has the capabilities with them hands to make sure Green Arrow's not getting in the way. And that makes for a very interesting dynamic. Oliver does his best to stop the undertaking, but he doesn't. He fails. The Glade gets destroyed. He does manage to beat Malcolm in combat, but like, your best friend's now dead in half of the city. It's just, so like, did it really matter that you just had to whoop his ass? Like, what kind of makes it worse is that the way they play it is that, you know, Oliver killed Malcolm. Which, I mean, I guess it's kind of redemption for the fact that he did, you know, destroy half of the city and subsequently kill his own son. But you find out, literally the next season, he didn't kill him. So, you telling me you did not neutralize the threat, the city got fucked, and your best friend is dead. What was all that for? But yeah, that is pretty much season 1. That's how I'm gonna summarize each season as we go. So, you know, if you like it, let me know in the comments. If you don't, speak up. Anyway, let's go through some of my overall thoughts with this season. So as y'all know, each season had its own little nickname, and this one's the Island season due to how it flashes back and forth from the present and the first year Oliver spent on Lian I just want to speak on the flashback, because I think the flashbacks are what really ties the story together throughout the season. The way they play the flashbacks, compare it to the present day, and they have basically these two separate plots going, and they culminate at the same time in fairly similar ways, to where you could see how one inspired the plan of action for the other. And I think that's really dope. That's one of the best parts of the early seasons, and I'm gonna continue to shout that out when I see it in the show. Also, the pacing for this season, while not amazing, it was better than some of the CW's other first seasons. I will never forgive them for Legends. But, you know, that's besides the point. We're not talking about Legends. We will never talk about Legends. But another positive I feel is the slow building of Oliver's faith in humanity coming back throughout this season was done really nicely. You know, you have the whole conflict with him and Tommy about him being a killer, and you can see that when Tommy passes at the end of the season, you can really see how that affects Oliver, and you can see how much he's been denying the effect these people have had in this first year, or however long it was back in the real world. They didn't rush it. It didn't seem like they just randomly got to the point where they're just like, you know what? Yeah, he wants to be a better person. It never felt like that. You know, it felt very natural, and I appreciate that. However, let's move on into some of the negatives, at least for me. For starters, this is a downfall to 99% of the CW's television, but the writing leaves a lot to be desired. You know, it's still a great season, but, you know, the CW will CW, all right? Other than that, I really am not a fan of the Huntress on this show. I don't know what it is, I just not a fan. So she was always a low point for me. And yeah, the villains have potential, like the week-to-week villains, but they lack any follow-through to make them seem like a threat at any point. So I guess it kind of makes sense that Oliver was killing. So I guess it kind of makes sense that Oliver was killing most of them at the start of the show. And finally, I just want to let y'all know, I hate all of the nicknames that they give Oliver throughout the show. All of them, bro. I will only call him the Green Arrow because that's his fucking superhero name. I'm not calling him the Hood. I'm not calling him the Vigilante. I'm not calling him the Arrow. I hate all of those names. I hate it. I hate them. They gotta go. Now, let's quickly discuss what I feel will be some of the best and the worst episodes of this season. Starting, of course, with the best. Firstly, the pilot is a really good episode. It's absolutely outstanding in my opinion. It sets up the character nicely, and it's a good episode, man. It starts off the show great. Another episode I really like, and I feel this may be the best episode of the entire season. Episode 14, The Odyssey. Hey, look. Watch the episode. There's no way I could sit here and tell y'all, like, in detail how much I enjoyed this episode without spieling. You know, just go watch the episode. And of course, the season finale, episode 22, Darkness at the Edge of Town. Great, fast pace. I really like this episode. But yeah, that would wrap it up for the best episodes. And to just quickly summarize what I feel will be the worst episodes, The Huntress. I'm not kidding. Right here on my notes, it literally says for worst episodes, episode 7, which is a Huntress episode, episode 8, which is a Huntress episode, and episode 17, which is literally called The Huntress Returns. So, like, overall, though, I'm going to give season 1 a 7.5 out of 10. Not amazing, not outstanding, not the best, but solid, great start, and definitely left me wanting to see season 2. Speaking of season 2, before we dive right into that, right, just some random moments, personal highlights of mine. Firstly, in episode 15, Oliver is facing off with the villain towards the end of the episode. The villain trying to blow some shit up, and instead of engaging in some big fight, Oliver just throws a knife into his arm, severs something so he can't use his fingers. And yes, it's a little Batman but also it's fucking dope. So it's cool. I can't lie. And y'all may hear this one a lot, but let's give a moment of appreciation to Roy Harper. Because he's Roy Harper, that's literally one of my highlights for any season you see Roy Harper in. So just get used to it, alright? Alright, people, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I forgot to film season 2, and it's been weeks. So I'm gonna just drop season 1, and I will come back on another video with season 2. So make sure you stay tuned. I have, of course, been the star before time. Thank you. Fuck you. Goodbye.
Let me tell you a quick story, this is how it go. So I was minding my own business, I was in the zone. Then up and come this kid that look like Wario.